Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Bridget.
And I'm Wendy.
And this is
Flickin' Beans. Woohoo.
Yeah. So today it's Civet Coffee again,
Mm-hmm.
but with hazelnut.
Yes.
And should we tell them what it is?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know, you should know.
Yeah. So a civet is a rodent that eats coffee berries and then poops them out. And the coffee beans are collected.
Yeah.
Hopefully washed and turned into very expensive coffee.
Very expensive.
Supposedly the smoothest and most wonderful coffee. Smooth move, in fact.
Hey, I mean, if it's going to help me with that, I'm down.
Yeah.
Because that is a side effect.
Oh my God. Oof. Okay. How is it?
It's fine. I mean, it's not.
You're like, it's fine.
I think it, and maybe I didn't do the water right, but I feel like it tastes kind of weak.
I don't mind a weak coffee. I like a weak one more than a strong one. When I'm over at Alyssa's house, she's got the pods French roast, and I have to cut it with some water because it's so strong. And still, I nearly wiped out all her pods.
Yeah. We've gone to like Airbnbs and stuff where they have a Keurig.
Yeah.
And they'll leave us like 4 pods.
Oh, please.
And you're like, we're going to do that in like one day.
Wow. I've never had only 4 pods. But
We've bought them a couple times because we're like, this is not good.
That is skimpy. I think Keurigs are designed for people who only want 1 cup of coffee.
Yes.
And I don't know any of those people.
I'm not one of those people. Like, even though I usually just have 1 cup, it's like a big cup. So it's really like 2.
Oh, I have a whole pot.
Yeah.
Sometimes 2 pots. It's really not good for me.
That's a lot.
I know.
Coffee, yeah, they say like coffee is one of those things where it's really good for you if you drink this amount, but it gets bad for you right away if you go over that.
Who does not have lessons to learn in moderation in some part of their life? Mine is kind of all parts,
Yeah,
but
I'm not the best moderator.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to shame myself for that.
Yeah, it's like those memes where people are like me in my 20s and they're like snorting coke or something, taking pills they don't recognize from people, and then they're like me now, and it's like, does this have red dye? Whatever.
Oh my God, yeah. I was going to say, me now, the older we get, the more pills we have in our hands.
Yeah. I will still take a pill from a stranger, but it'll the pill now is like, oh, I have a Tylenol.
Yeah.
Or ashwagandha.
Oh my gosh. Anywho, our movie this week is a one-off. It's called Okja.
Okja.
And it's from 2017. You've never even heard of this movie. And yet it's got stars in the cast. It's got Tilda Swinton.
Yep.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Tilda Swinton actually plays twins.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I liked how that was sort of a fun reveal at the end. They never said she was a twin. Every time they showed her, it was always like from the back of the head.
Right.
The bad twin or whatever.
Right. Well, they just referred to her as her sister, and then you find out that they're twins.
Right.
That part where they're in the same space and they're lighting cigarettes, and like a good Tilda, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hers is pink, and the other one's is green.
It's green.
What's that remind you of?
Wicked.
Yes!
Yeah, I wrote that down too. I was
That's
like,
awesome.
what?
I
Okay.
loved it. Yeah, they
and
really.
also, where did he get those pink cigarettes?
I had those
Oh,
before.
yeah?
Yeah. When I was way younger, but you had to buy them at the tobacco store where they sold pipes and loose tobacco in the mall.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember when those were a thing?
I do, because that's where you had to go to get clove cigarettes a lot of times. Yeah.
Yes. So we thought we were hot shit with the. Can you imagine the cancer in a pink cigarette?
Oh, yeah. It's
It's
probably all
extra.
red dye.
Yeah.
Number 5, whatever that is.
Oh my God. If it's carmine, that's from bugs. Did you know that?
No, but
That
cool.
They even used to use that in M&Ms. They don't anymore. So gross.
I would rather eat a bug than a toxic chemical.
Yeah.
So
Well, crickets are the new
that's true.
protein of the future.
That's what they say. I think the bug thing is fine, and I think it could, work in a lot of ways. But how many crickets do you have to eat, though, to get
Right?
enough protein to sustain a human?
I think a lot of times what they're going to do, and this is just my speculation, because I hear a lot about cricket flour.
Oh, sure. So add protein to
maybe some of the things that will evolve from that, maybe we'll have cricket flour bread, and bread is our protein.
Ooh.
Wouldn't that be a magical world?
Oh, I would love that.
I would too. I also want to mention the little girl who is the star. She is a fucking little ninja action star.
True.
It was exciting.
Yeah. I went into this completely blind. You recommended it. I didn't know anything about it. I was pleasantly surprised that one, it was about like a creature.
Right.
The little Mija.
Yeah.
Although I kept in the subtitles, I kept reading it in my head as Mija.
Yeah, I don't think it matters. We don't speak Korean, but that's kind of a Spanish pronunciation.
It is,
I think.
That's exactly where it comes from.
Let me mention her name real quick. It's An Seo-hyun. An Seo-hyun. I was curious to see if she had been in anything else because her performance was so awesome.
Yeah.
And I found two things, both from 2010. One is Housemaid and one is The Yellow Sea. And I don't know if those would be Korean movies, but they sure could be. Mm-hmm. This was the first Korean Netflix movie. People actually booed though because they hate Netflix or something. And they've got a booming cinema industry on their own. So maybe that's where that ire comes from. Let's talk about the creature.
Yeah. The basic plot line is that Tilda Swinton is a new CEO of this agricultural...
Miranda Corporation.
Yes. So, like a Monsanto type corporation. And they didn't really try to hide that too much by making the name the same almost.
Right.
So she's a new CEO and she wants to make a difference. And so she comes up with these GMO pigs.
Right. Super pigs.
And they send them out all over the world to figure out basically like how do you make them thrive.
It's a contest for the best specimen of this pig. And the look of it. I read that it is based on the face of a manatee and the body of a hippopotamus.
Yeah, it looks very, very much like a hippo.
It does. It's real cute.
It's very cute.
And it's huge.
Yeah.
But it acted like a big dog, especially when I think she was eating something at the edge of the river or catching fish. And Okja sort of started nudging closer, licked its lips, pretty soon had its head right in there, and she pushes him away. I'm like, that is a big dog.
Yeah.
It was so protective of her, especially the dramatic rescue when she falls.
Yeah, she accidentally falls off a cliff and is hanging by the rope, that classic trope. And Okja saves her by pulling the rope back up.
You see in that scene how Okja is working out that's how smart it is.
Yeah.
It had critical thinking skills. And their bond was incredible.
It was definitely a heartwarming, like, kid and their dog movie.
Right.
Except the dog was a hippo,
right.
Basically. There's so much fart and poop jokes in this.
Oh my God, yes. Okay, yes. I was going to mention that, think about if the civet pooped like that.
Whoa.
She slapped its little butt. And it would fart and shoot the poop out in like little hamburgers.
Yeah.
God, it was funny.
What if we ate coffee that a super pig pooped out? They could do a large volume.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, they would eat the hell out of those coffee berries. They even used the pooping as a weapon at one point.
Yeah.
To stop a guy from chasing them.
I think that was my favorite part of the movie.
Poor guy. That is something you do not want.
You do not.
So the people from the Miranda Corporation come to check on all the pigs, and they believe Okja is the best. Mm-hmm. So it, quote unquote, won. Her grandpa, who she lives with because her parents are dead, he knew. And he was kind of keeping that from her, that this is actually going to happen, that they're going to take your pet away. And he leads her off, says, let's visit your parents. Their 2 graves are there. And he gives her a golden pig, which is, heavy. It's real gold. It means, prosperity, wealth, happiness, long life. And he says that's something that girls are given part of the dowry when they're married. So it's valuable. And that doesn't come into play until much later. While they've walked away, they're loading up Okja. It's so sad.
It's terrible.
It is.
And they're the people that are picking up the pigs and handling the pigs. It's odd how little they care about it. I get like it's more of an investment for them. Wouldn't you want to protect your investment? They don't. Like they don't sedate the pig to move it.
No.
It's just hanging out in there fully awake.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Terrified.
And then when they let it out at the end, they have the big ceremony to present the winner, and they let the pig out of the tent, and it's not tied up to anything, just free on the crowd. What did they think was going to happen?
You know what, though? It had a collar on it. Maybe it was so upset that it broke it. I could see that. Okja is being hauled off to basically do that, like you said, that parade in New York, show it off, but then taken to a slaughterhouse, obviously. And, you know, when you said they didn't care about the pigs, we don't care about the pig. They are a commodity. They're a product. They're not living things. Just like if they had buttons for eyes, they're, you know, fair game. As he's taken away to New York, the Animal Liberation Front, the ALF, comes in basically with a plan to rescue this animal. That's a real organization.
Oh, I wondered if it was real or if they were just trying to be like PETA or copy PETA.
No, it's a real one. And they actually did try to take down some big corporations that were harming animals and freeing the animals. It made me think of Jay and Silent Bob movie. Well, they had that animal group that was actually trying to steal diamonds, but they pretended that they were. That's just what it made me think of, and I chuckled. But it's a real organization. This is when the freaking action movie part of it starts. Even though everybody in that group was just hard to take, especially the main guy, they played it really serious. In many ways, this movie had comedy elements.
Oh, yeah.
It was, I mean, even Tilda Swinton, just her whole character.
One of my favorite characters in the Animal Liberation Group is the one that won't eat.
Because he wants to have the smallest footprint that he can.
Yeah. And he's like, all eating is murder. It's like, yeah, it is, but
yeah.
you gotta
He's
do it to live.
wasting away. He's passing out. He's no help.
Right. It's not delusional, but it's unpractical idea that you can, one, not leave a footprint and nothing's going to die for you to eat. Even if you only eat plants, like that agriculture is also killing creatures. Where's the moral line? And everybody's got to decide that. But yeah, some people take it too far.
Have you seen The Good Place? So you know how they have the photo on the wall of the only guy that got it right?
Yeah.
They go to visit him and they find out in his attempt to be good, very good, and get to the good place, because he had figured it out, the algorithm or whatever it was. He was at a point of only eating radishes and filtering his own pee, bowing down to a bully to be nice. Give me your shoes, I think he said. And he did, without question, saving little insects from being stepped on. So it was ridiculous. And that shouldn't be the way to go to heaven.
Yeah.
You know, by not living your life. Mitja, she finds her way to New York somehow, was for the horrible parade. Incidentally, as soon as Tilda Swinton came out in that dress, I was like, ew, what's this baby doll dress?
We were talking about that too. It was so ugly.
It's a traditional Korean dress called the hanbok, and they're usually very colorful with red, blue, and other bright colors, but Swinton matches her two-color palette. It was pale pink. It was gross. She had super platinum blonde hair, which just made her look even more washed out. Oh, and braces.
That dress was not flattering either. Like, I don't know if it's supposed to fit like that. The strap was like above her boobs.
Yeah, it wasn't an pure waist. It was
like almost in her armpits, but not quite.
And everything else flared out.
I guess I don't know how it's supposed to fit, but
She's just trying to appeal to the crowd, I'm sure. Poor Okja, they take her to the slaughterhouse. And those are some of the most exciting and sad scenes in the whole movie. This little girl in one of the most dangerous places, just trying to save her piggy. Prior to that, they forcibly bred Okja. Why, we haven't talked about Jake Gyllenhaal at all yet. Dr. Johnny Wilcox. I think he's kind of like the crocodile hunter kind of guy. He's got a television show. He's very popular. He's always wearing a suit jacket, shorts, and long socks and drunk.
yeah.
Yeah. So he's there when the pig rape happens and he feels terrible, but he's stuck. He works for these people now under the impression at first that they were doing good. Of course, he knows they're not. So he has to poke this poor pig with a prod that pulls a tube of meat out of it.
A live meat sample is what was on the board.
So gross. And then they show this little, they're just like a worm. They cut it up in a saucepan and made like tiny little hot dogs for a panel.
Oh, it's so gross.
And they're like, tasty.
It made me think of the scene in, is it Hannibal, where he cooks the guy's brain in little pieces and then he's slicing the little pieces and eating it. That's what that made me think of.
That is so gross.
It was really gross and sad because
yeah,
I'm sure that hurt her, and also the doc, he didn't want to do it.
No. How much do you think that they may really do that? That could be a actual. I didn't look it up. I didn't think about it till just this second, but there are a lot of parallels to, I think I read like when this movie came out, nobody realized that the actual GMO meats and things would actually happen a few years later.
I don't know if I would fucked up stuff.
They sure do.
But I don't think that taking a live meat sample would be legal.
What? At the USDA?
Yeah, I think that the animal has to be dead, but
maybe. That would really tear through a lot of muscle. All right, let's get off that topic.
It was gross.
So Mija running through the slaughterhouse, the pigs are on a conveyor belt, shot in the head, and then just rolled out.
That actually is how they do it.
Yeah, I know. And the poor girl sees it, and she sees whole carcasses hanging, them being sawed in half. Horrible. I mean, you're on the edge of your seat. It's about to happen. It gets right to the place where it's about to be shot in the head or stunned or whatever it is they do, and gets it to stop. Finally, it's so scary. Slaughterhouses in general, the people like the director, producer, those guys, they went vegan after those scenes. I don't think forever, but I'm sure it stuck with them for a long time. I've never been in a slaughterhouse, but I've seen some images. I can't imagine how desensitized you'd have to be to work there.
Yeah.
My grandma worked at a packing plant. She did some bacon stuff. I think I've talked about that before. She had those sparkly gloves that were just cut proof. She kept them on top of the fridge, and I would climb up there and smell them. Sometimes I'd put them on. She'd be like, "No, go wash your hands." They smelled like bacon.
Yeah, yum. Bacon is good though, you know, that's the problem.
Yeah.
We need to fix that industry for sure. It was very disturbing. How she saves is the gold pig comes back into play.
Yes. She basically buys it. Tilda's character bites it to see if it's real gold. You bite gold. What does it do?
Biting gold doesn't prove anything.
Right? I'm surprised she didn't have that checked out first. But, you know, it's holding up the line. The thing that I can't quite believe, they bred Okja. She's pregnant. Why are you killing these full-grown specimens when you could be breeding them? It doesn't make sense.
They were breeding them still, but I think once they reach a certain...
Yeah, but if that's the best pig... you're
True.
gonna...
You shouldn't be killing that pig. I
Right.
agree.
And the only reason that was the best pig, most likely, is because they let it run around, just let it be free, and they lived in a very remote area. There is a happy ending, though.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the absolute worst scene before we talk about the happy ending? They're leaving the slaughterhouse and they've agreed to let Okja go. And her and Mija are walking down that aisle between the two pens, I guess, of pigs. And a mom pig throws her baby out in front of them to save it.
Oh.
And that just broke my heart. It made me think of like a concentration camp, like someone just throwing their baby out, so desperate that you're like, help. And one way that's just so heartbreaking anyway, you know that the desperation that that animal had to get to throw his baby out. And also just to the intelligence to know that these people could help. And that's just so hard.
It reminded me of, in one way, that documentary about orcas. Blackfish.
Oh, yeah.
Similar to that, throwing the baby. They bred the orca and then they took her baby away. The wailing that the mother did, it was like she was connected to her baby in such a deep way. Probably could sense where it was as it's going down the freeway.
Have you seen that really sad story that's about the orca who's carrying around her dead calf?
Oh.
And it's actually, this is an orca that they've been tracking. Several years ago, she did the same thing. She lost a calf and she carried it around for like months.
It's grief.
And now she lost another one and they found her and she's carrying around her other baby. And it's just, that's so sad.
Oh. I bet you she would take on a baby if there was an abandoned one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And start loving her life. That is sad.
Yeah.
They have emotions.
Oh, yeah.
They have language. Okay, so do you want to talk about the happy ending?
Yeah.
Okay. Okja gets to go home with Mija.
With the baby, too.
And
they do take the baby.
Yes. They were back to the simple
together,
life.
Back with Grandpa running around and jumping off waterfalls.
Yep.
How beautiful is that place? My gosh.
It's really a story about wholesome values versus society's greed. We did it.
Okay.
We flicked some beans.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.